In Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, you have multiple plot lines that are very different from one another. Each one could actually be its own play in its own right. And the audience is left wondering how on earth are these very different streams ever going to coalesce into some unified whole? What makes sense of them all? How do these things come together? You have a mythical fairy world. You have this the relationship side. This one loves that one, but that one loves this one, and this dad says you can't marry that one. You have to marry him. Um, and so that's going on. And then you have this group of people that are practicing a play, and they go off into the woods to practice their play. And you're left wondering, almost like one of the people practicing the play voices this about their play, but it's really could be said about the whole play. He says, "How shall we find concord in out of this discord? How shall we find concord in this discord?" With so many different things that themselves could be their own play. And I find in the Psalms, generally for myself, it can be difficult to in the words find the unifying message sometimes. And in Psalm 86, we see the Psalm of David beginning. It's a prayer. He says, "Incline your ear, O Lord," and talks of throughout the psalm of, it's a prayer to preserve, to save him. That there are people that hate him and are seeking to do violence against him, and he's wanting God to move in, and that they would those that are pursuing him in this way would be ashamed, because God has helped him. It makes me think of Job, not by my own cunning or my own strength or my own wisdom, but because God shows up and they are humbled by God. So there's this anxiety from people after seeking to do him harm. You also hear him talk about, you are a God of loving kindness and gracious, that forgives. So this is swirling around in there. And I want to zoom in here at verses 9 through 13. He says, "All nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you." It's as if, I'm reading this and I'm given to think, well, haven't we already got enough on the table? We have people that are after you that you're worried about. And you're asking God to intervene and help. You've talked about this need for forgiveness, and okay, maybe this relates that in order for God to do this, you're asking Him for forgiveness, so that having been made right as you call upon Him, your relationship made right before God, then He would save. And now we have all the nations are brought into this too. All nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, and they shall glorify your name. For you are great and do wondrous deeds. You alone are God. Teach me your ways, O Lord. I will walk in your truth. Unite my heart to fear your name. I will give thanks to you, O Lord my God, with all my heart, and will glorify your name forever. For your loving kindness toward me is great, and you have delivered my soul from the depths of Sheol. And did you catch something that I in this that I think unifies the whole? Two specific places stand out. One that of course makes sense of all of it is that he says in verse 10, "For you are great and do wondrous deeds. You alone are God." Bringing back to that most basic but most important thing, you are God. Who is God in this situation? When people are seeking to do me harm, when I'm in trouble and I'm in need, I'm desperate, you alone are God. Not this, not them. You are God. When I need forgiveness and I've I've really messed up and I've blown it. Well, I seek forgiveness, yes, to be reconciled to other people. But the most important thing is, but you are God. I've offended you first, and it is reconciliation with you that matters most. You alone are God. Your forgiveness means everything. So you alone are God. And then when he says, all the nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, he then goes on to say, teach me your ways, O Lord. So I will walk in your truth. Unite my heart to fear your name. Look, you're going to bring all the nations to come to recognize that you alone are God. Father, unite my heart like you will the nations. Unite my heart under this, to fear, to respect, to revere, to glorify your name. You know, when I was born, I was born with a congenital heart defect. And many of you have probably heard me talk about this countless times, but it's an illustration I carry with me. So I was born with a heart defect, and when I had open heart surgery, one of the things that did that I wouldn't experience until years later, back in 2012 and again in 2015, is that you know, a surgery like that, it disrupted the circuitry of my heart, you know, that thing that makes the heart contract. And so later on in life, what can happen with those kind of invasive surgeries is I developed an irregular heartbeat caused by part of that electrical network being a little chaotic. In my case, it was just one place where instead of having a concerted the electrical impulses going through in concert, giving a clear contraction, there's one place that was just being a little rebel, and it was just doing its own thing, going off whenever it wanted. And so what they do is they go in and they shut it down. They burn that spot so that it won't disrupt the rest of the contraction, or else you don't get a full contraction, and blood will pool in the heart and could clot, and then you know, that's just not good. So imagine like you're on a trampoline and someone steals your bounce. You don't get, if you do it right, you can launch someone really high, but if you don't quite land in the right timing, then it's not much of you don't get as much of a bounce out of it. So imagine that with your heart. If something's off, then it's not all in concert, and it doesn't get a good contraction. So unite my heart under this, that you alone are God. Unite my heart. Teach me your ways. I will walk in your truth. Unite my heart to fear your name, to revere you, to glorify you. I will give thanks to you, O Lord my God, with all of my heart, and will glorify your name forever. For your loving kindness toward me is great, and you have delivered my soul from the depths of Sheol. Your loving kindness to me, giving me forgiveness, is great, and you delivered me. You saved me from everything, Father. So as you go about your day today, sometimes we can wonder what on earth could bring concord out of all the discord of life, all the concord out of the discord of all my thoughts, out of these emotions. Let them all be reined in and come to bear under this thing. You are a God. You alone are God. Unite my heart to fear your name. So I pray that you may be active in the sharing of your faith, that would be shared throughout all of your thoughts, all of your emotions, your feelings, and with one another, so that we may come to a full understanding and celebrate every good thing we have in Christ. And I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.